Pisces, welcome to your August 2019 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. I've had noise all day, so suffice it to say, I had to start over again. But I wanted to just say something before I begin, because I did get somebody who commented this morning, and I see an ash, something from this is from my sage bundle. If you see little particles, that's from that. But somebody wrote on under another video that she didn't like these cards, and that I'm being too vague, like non-committal. I'm not being like certain enough. I'm exhibiting too much uncertainty by saying may, could, and things like that. And in the case about the cards, I don't use this deck primarily. This is the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, but I do like to sometimes mix things up. And I love most of the illustrations of the cards. Some of them are a little creepy, but you know, it is what it is. And I love the creepiness of those cards. And then, but that's my choice. You know, I don't understand why people do that. It's not, believe me, it's not anything that like hurts my feelings, but it irritates me because it's like, you know, I'm supposed to change my deck because of one person. But anyway, then the other thing that regarding saying might or could and stuff like that, yes, because I'm not going to act like I'm some kind of a psychic. I don't pretend to be. And the other thing about this is even if I were a psychic, I would never tell somebody this is exactly what's going to happen. I really think that you're going to make things happen. And if anything, this could possibly show you the energy that is surrounding you right now and what you have to work with. And to inspire you more than anything, not to convince you that, you know, you can just sit back and let things happen. Okay, so I don't know, maybe I just needed to get that off my chest, but I wanted to say that. Because now, you know, that's another thing. Then I feel like self-conscious, and then because every time I say might or could. So the heart of the matter is the Two of Wands, and this is a card, as all twos will be in one way or the other, about perhaps having to make a choice or being at a crossroads. With Wands, if we kind of interpret it from the angle of Wands, we could be looking at a situation of what is really tugging at your heart in a way that excites you to pursue your passions. Sometimes Wands can relate to career, and career versus job that the Pentacles would connect with. So for me, the difference is that it's kind of like more of your baby. It's more of your independent venture. So especially if you are an entrepreneur and you want to expand, and maybe you want to go into new territory, and even if you do have a career, if it's something where they want you in a different country and yet you feel tied to where you are, then that could be part of a dilemma as well. So it could be something along those lines, even just relocating in general. And you may want to do so, and you may want to do it because maybe you feel constricted where you are. Maybe there's not a lot of room or privacy, and you want that for yourself, but there might be other things that are going on that kind of you have to consider other people's opinions and their needs, like if you have children and they're already tied to a certain school district and that kind of thing. In the past position, we have the Sun of Swords, which connects with or translates to the Knight of Swords. And this can be like, if it's a person, it could be a lawyer. It can be somebody who is it could be an air sign individual. That's one of the things that's interesting, is that perhaps you're choosing between two people. One of them may be an Aquarius, and the reason I'm saying that is because of the star card, which is an air sign. And usually when I see the Two of Wands, and if it is another person, and if it is a fire sign, it could be like a fling type of relationship. Of all the fire signs, probably Sagittarius is your biggest attraction, Pisces. And in any case, in that particular scenario, it's like it's like this Knight of Swords person can have the fire energy and the air energy at the same time. This person may be very outspoken, and they may be very, blunt in their speech, and they can provoke you in some way. This is why it is associated with somebody who's a, whatchamacallit, like a lawyer. But it doesn't have to be just a lawyer. It can actually be a reporter, like, I think it can be somebody in the media, somebody in like, who does communication for a living. And if you are in that field, it may be suggesting that you're looking at something that is more of a life coach or a healing profession. The star card is the higher message. And I think as the higher message too, one of the things that the star card can kind of indicate is that this is a card of healing and hope, and perhaps as the spiritual message is saying that you cannot just look at how much you earn and all that stuff. That's not enough, especially for a Pisces person, that you are the kind of person who is much more attracted to helping people and, feeling like you're contributing to good on this planet and doing something positive in that sense. You are a very caring person, obviously. That goes without saying. But you're also somebody who is very idealistic. And the star card is about that kind of, generating hope. And the Two of Wands as well is feeling that sense of passion about something. So it might be that you were doing something in media or teaching, writing, and it stimulated a part of you, but not the heart chakra, okay? And maybe that's what you're looking for, that you have felt that something has been missing. In relationships, this is about perhaps meeting that person who is the dream that you've had, your love of your life. And maybe the Knight of Swords is a person that you were involved with that simply did not have enough sensitivity, enough, you didn't have enough of that connection at the deepest level to really make it work. What crosses you is the Five of Wands, and this is a card of competition and conflict. And there, one of the things too, whenever I see the Knight of Swords and I think about the lawyer angle, and I think about relationships, I think about somebody who's possibly consulting a lawyer about, hey, maybe I will get divorced, and kind of just feeling around because you realize if you are in love with another person or you simply are unhappy in your current relationship and you just, the star card to you represents the hope of something better, then that's really what you're looking for. But with the Five of Wands, that kind of conflict, especially if there's like some protracted court case, is something that would totally not appeal to you. Now, maybe if you're an Aries, it wouldn't be that bad. But because you're a Pisces, I don't think you like to fight. And so you may, it's like the path of least resistance, which makes sense, although sometimes if we're looking to change our life, we have to accept a little bit of conflict. And that's what the Five of Wands represents. Now, it doesn't have to be like dog eat dog and, duking it out in court in a very ugly way. But you may have to have a little bit of that in order to realize your dreams. And the same thing applies to, the other thing too is when you're deciding between two jobs, you have to decide whether or not it's a hostile workplace, because that's one of the things too that I wanted to say when you're making a decision. Sometimes people just think of the job title or the money, but they're not thinking of the work conditions. And it could be a very competitive environment where you never really trust anybody. You always feel like everyone is out for themselves. In relationships, if you're choosing between two people, I think this card could suggest that some Pisces don't notice when they're clashing with somebody, and they may not see that that person really isn't compatible with them. And I noticed this about certain people, where they almost have like I don't know if you'd call it like a blind side, or they just, have this habitual tendency to just turn off their perception when, as soon as somebody is starting to show signs of being negative or combative, and, it's like putting on those rose-colored glasses right away. So the best judge of whether or not you're aligned with something is how comfortable it feels. If it feels like there's a lot of things that you have to deal with, like a lot of conflict around it, like even a relationship, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they have friends or they have family who is like against you, maybe even overtly saying, not including you in things, kind of like veiled insults and things like that, you may say, well, that doesn't matter. I'm marrying this person. I'm not marrying his mother or his friends and all that stuff. You would be surprised, because especially if that person doesn't defend you, somewhere down the road, you may regret it, because you may realize how much more of his ear that they have, like how much more influence they have in his life, and you may begin to resent that. So just keep that in mind if you notice conflict surrounding you regarding this situation that you're trying to make a decision about. The advice is the Three of Birds, the Three of Cups. I love this. Is one of my favorites out of all of the illustrations. And this is a card of celebration, of socializing with friends, just letting your hair down and enjoying your life. You may have something to celebrate. Maybe you make a decision and then you want to tell everybody about it. Perhaps you are going to move to a foreign country, at least for a while, and you are realizing that you won't see your friends and family for a while, so you're inviting them out to celebrate your new chapter in your life. And it could be just saying, perhaps if you have been embroiled in some kind of an affair, that you may need to just take a breather. Maybe you've been too obsessed about the situation instead of really relaxing. Sometimes when you relax, if you have a problem and you just say, you know what, just for tonight, I'm not going to even think about that thing, and something develops. And I think it's because we let go of resistance when we do that. and we really embrace happiness, joy, and it comes back to us. You know, when you're sitting at home and you're just like obsessed, thinking about something, worried about it, to me, it's very likely that it just kind of keeps recirculating that type of negative thought, and that generates more negativity. So that's something that you can do just to kind of like let go of the need to control the situation. The outcome is another 2. So we started with a 2, we end with a 2, the 2 of Pentacles. In some cases, this can be 2 jobs, like, or I would say, I don't know if this is like officially what this could mean, but if you're with a partner and that other person would love to go with you to another country, but they have their own job, and they don't want to let go of that, even though they want you to succeed. You may decide to have split time where you're doing your thing, they're doing their thing, and you're both making money, but you're working where you're working. Especially if this is contract work and it's not going to be forever, that might be a reasonable compromise. The other thing, too, is that one thing that I didn't say at the beginning is about being at the crossroads between 2 different types of career. And typically what I think of is working for yourself versus working for somebody else. And you may decide to do both, like stay with your day job and do your other thing on the side. And I think one of the benefits of that, besides the obvious, that you're not just totally losing a guaranteed source of income, is because if you have been feeling very antsy about staying on the job, your day job, you might find that it's much more tolerable when you know you can leave at any time. When you're already working on your dream life, but you haven't quite gotten there. You know that you are working towards your goals, so you're not feeling stuck. It's kind of like if you want to move, but you just haven't gotten around to start looking for a place, or maybe you're still saving money, but you really feel like, oh, I can't wait till I can leave. In the meantime, you may be, sorting through your things and packing, and it makes it more palatable to stay because you know you're moving in the direction that you want to move in. And so this gives you flexibility. This can also indicate that there's a busy time coming up for you in August, Pisces. And, it's interesting now that I think about it, because Leo, for you, is your 6th house of work. And the month begins with a lot of that energy there. So it would make sense to me that this would be the case. And you actually had a Mercury retrograde begin in this house. Mercury will be going back into your 6th house on the 11th of the month, and that can lead to resolution of some kind of an issue that took place after the first week in July, perhaps. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you'd like a private reading, a personalized reading with your exact time of birth, please check me out. I'm at rainandmoonastrology.com, and the link is below to my website. Take care. Bye.